Hi, my name is Lisa Warren. I'm an occupational therapist working with persons with Parkinson's. I'm at the University of Florida Health Rehab Center at the Norman Fixell Institute for Neurological Diseases. Today, I'm going to talk to you about fighting apathy and fatigue with activity. So, not everyone develops every symptom of Parkinson's disease, but if you, your loved one, or a person with Parkinson's that you're working with is affected by apathy and or fatigue, it can have a negative impact on their quality of life. Staying mentally and physically engaged in life is important for all of our well-being. It isn't all about exercise. Exercise is very important for all of us and especially important for persons with Parkinson's. But the person with Parkinson's also needs to stay active doing the things that people of comparable age do during the day. May have to do it a little bit differently to stay safe, but it's just as important that the person with Parkinson's stay involved in activity as it is for them to be involved in exercise. We need a healthy combination of both. So, how do you stay active with apathy and fatigue? How do you motivate the person with Parkinson's when they're feeling apathetic and tired? So, it's not about whether the glass is half full or half empty. The question is, can you refill it? And the answer to that is yes. So, while having a positive mental attitude, being optimistic is very important, it's also just as important to know that you can fight apathy and fatigue and hopefully improve or maintain a good quality of life when experiencing these symptoms with Parkinson's. So, apathy itself is just a reduced interest or a lack of motivation to participate or to complete a task. So, sometimes it's called just being indifferent or having a lack of concern, lack of interest. It's different than depression. So, this is simply a decreased motivation, decreased interest in participating in activities that are necessary, but also activities that used to at one time just interest us, activities that are fun for us. Approximately 40% of persons with Parkinson's suffer with apathy. Is it physiological or is it psychological? Well, apathy in Parkinson's disease is more likely to be related to a physiological change than a psychological adjustment to the diagnosis. So, in other words, apathy can be a part of the disease process itself and not the inability to cope with the disease or the diagnosis. So often, it's viewed as a choice, perhaps, that the person with Parkinson's is making to not participate. So research has shown us that that's not the case. That this can indeed be a physiological change that the person with Parkinson's experiences. So it's not them choosing not to participate. They really have a physiological change that decreases the amount of motivation they have to participate. So, apathy can decrease our participation. So, when dealing with apathy, it is difficult to motivate oneself to participate in necessary activities as well as enjoyable activities, the things we used to like to do. So, how do you stay active then if you're apathetic? Because we know how important activity is. Well, you have to schedule activities and you have to schedule things like housework. If it's difficult for the person with Parkinson's to get motivated to do the laundry or to wash dishes or the things that just have to be done, then you schedule those things and they are done at a specific time. So, laundry, for instance, maybe it's done on Monday and Thursday at 9 in the morning. So you choose a day and you choose a time, and that's when it has to be done. So activities start having to be scheduled when we're struggling with apathy. Activities of socialization or video calls, those also need to be scheduled a specific day and a specific time. Scheduling activities that involve hobbies, things that we enjoy doing, things that we like to do or used to like to do, but now are having more difficulty participating because of apathy, then those things need to be scheduled. That might be something like golf, or it could be sewing. Maybe sewing needs to be done every Friday at 2 p.m. because it's something I used to like to do. I'm being less engaged in activities, so I schedule it at a certain day at a certain time. Exercise. If the person with Parkinson's is struggling to be motivated or interested in exercise, schedule it. It has to be done on a certain day at a certain time. So schedule what's convenient for the person with Parkinson's and perhaps the caregiver, whatever works into their schedule, but have a very specific schedule. It's too vague to say, participate in an aerobic activity 3 days a week for 30 minutes. We need a specific time, a specific day, and perhaps a specific activity, a specific exercise to do. Schedule activities with a friend or a family member. So that helps to hold the person with Parkinson's accountable. So if someone is expecting you to be there to go for that walk through the neighborhood, then maybe I'm more likely to participate when I know somebody's waiting on me to go. So scheduling activities with others or exercise with others can be really helpful. So treat each of these activities as though they are just as important as medication or a medical appointment, because really they are. They are just as important. So you do them at a specific time on a specific day. When you set up a schedule for the person with Parkinson's to be social, to do the housework, or to exercise, whatever those tasks are that they're having difficulty doing. Once you schedule a time for those to be done, sticking to that schedule then eliminates the decision making of whether to participate or not. If something is done on a particular day at a particular time, then that's just what's done then. Then there's no decision making as to whether I feel like it or I'm interested in doing it. It is just what I do on that day at that time. So we eliminate the decision making. Now, what about fatigue? So we've talked about how to combat apathy. What if I'm just too tired to participate? So, approximately 50% of people with Parkinson's disease report fatigue as a major problem, and a third of those say it is their most disabling symptom. Now, fatigue is different from sleepiness. A person who is fatigued feels exhausted, however, doesn't necessarily feel like sleeping. Now, interestingly enough, too much rest can lead to increased fatigue. So we need a balance of rest and a balance of activity to have that right amount of energy. So, how do you stay active with fatigue? So, you eat well. A good balanced diet is good for all of us. Stay hydrated. Dehydration causes us to be a bit more tired. Keep a regular sleep schedule. A short nap during midday can provide renewed energy. Try to go to bed at the same time each day and try to get up at the same time. It's really challenging, but it can help fight fatigue. Pace activities. You may need to do a little bit at a time to not become overly fatigued, but also it's equally important to do activities perhaps during the on medication time. So those of you working with persons with Parkinson's, help them schedule their activities when they are at their best. So when their medication is on, it takes less effort to move. It takes less effort to think when medication is on. So try to plan those activities or exercise when medication is on. If you're still working, persons with Parkinson's who are still working, take regular short breaks at work. If you're at a computer, make sure you get up and walk around every once in a while. Do whatever you can to combat that fatigue by taking rest breaks at work. Exercise, aerobic exercise can increase stamina in all of us. So it is really important to have some aerobic component to your exercise regime. So an aerobic component is something that's going to increase your heart rate and increase your respiratory rate. Your therapist can work with you on developing just the right aerobic exercise for you. So, activity, exercise, and activities of daily living. The Parkinson's Outcome Project actually shows that people with Parkinson's who start exercising earlier and at a minimum of 2.5 hours per week experienced a slow decline in quality of life compared to those who started later. So, staying mentally and physically engaged in life is important to our well being and our overall quality of life. So, the best activity, fight apathy with scheduled activity and exercise, include social, cognitive, and physical activities. Fight fatigue with exercise plus activity. You can't exercise for an hour in the morning and then spend the rest of the day lying around. So, you've got to have both. You've got to have that exercise component and you have to have that activity component. There is no one size fits all for exercise. The best exercise is the one you'll do. So work with your therapist on developing an exercise routine. So those of you working with persons with Parkinson's, find out what is available to them and what their interest is. Again, the best exercise is the one that they'll participate in. We need to have a combination of stretching, balance, aerobic, and strengthening. So life isn't about waiting for the storm to pass. It's about learning to dance in the rain. So staying active, scheduling activities, and exercise are our best defense against apathy and fatigue. Thank you.